I'll start with a small recitation, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفر لك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عليما حكيما ليدخل المؤمنين والمؤمنات جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ويكفر عنهم سيئاتهم وكان ذلك عند الله فوضا عظيما صدق الله العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, today's talk is about creating alliances. لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. When you look at the word alliance means to come together in union for some kind of common purpose. You have an alliance for many reasons. You can have intentions for your alliance. Islamically, one of the biggest alliances, the treaties that we've had, is the Charter of Medina, which allowed a peaceful state to emerge where the rights of the Muslims and the non-Muslims were qualified. They had equal rights. What was interesting about it was the Jewish people, they had their Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they allowed them to have their own courts, their own rules. They were going to administer each other, and the Muslims were going to administer each other. But they were going to come together in the defense if an outside force attacked. If there was going to be some kind of discrepancy, they were going to come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for arbitration. So the common purpose was the peace and the success of the community. When we look at alliances, an alliance is when two groups or two parties have a common interest. So when one of the most common thing that we will experience in our life is a marriage, because it's called an alliance. Somebody seeks an alliance. And many people seek an alliance based on their job certification, their financial background. And the people of knowledge, they seek the alliance from a righteous person. They seek the alliance of somebody whose deen is good. Somebody who seeks alliance for somebody whose father is something, is they're not looking for an alliance with a person, they're looking for an alliance with the father who has the money, or the mother has the money, or the family has the money. So when we look at alliances based on common interest. A lot of times, people think an alliance can be formed between anybody. It doesn't work that way. An alliance happens when one person has something to offer which the other person is in need of. As an interesting story, I was reading about this, I forget his name, Corruccio or something. There's an Italian prince. It's in the 4th century. He was promoted by a big business family. He was a common soldier, and they raised him and they funded him, so he became the prince of the city. When he became the leader or the king of the city, he did it by treachery and murder and all the things that he needed to get to the top. So the family which had supported him suddenly felt like this guy is ungrateful. We need to bring him back to book. So there was an uprising in the city, and they killed the governor that this guy had put in place. And a fight broke out between people of the prince and this powerful family. So there was a wise man amongst the rich family, Stefano du Gojo. The names are tough. So Stefano du Gojo, they said he was a wise man. So he told the people, let's not fight. Let us come to terms and let us talk to this young man, because we helped him. Surely he's going to remember his debts from us. So the fight stopped. This guy comes back. He was in an expedition. And when he comes back and he reminded this old man to this young man, say, listen, do you remember you were a common soldier and our family funded you, we educated you, we gave you all these things, we helped you become, as a sign of your gratitude and as sign of our, look at our conduct. We were so nice to you. We didn't want bloodshed. We stopped everything, and we want you to consider our complaints and administer justice. So this guy, Corruccio, I think, I'm forgetting his name. So he patiently listened to the old man. He said, okay, that's fine. I will administer justice. He said, he called this entire family, the Gojo family, to his palace in the evening. So he got the entire family, everybody came. Guess what he did? He imprisoned them all. In 2 weeks, he killed them all. So the purpose was, not only was this ungrateful person ungrateful about the fact he'd gotten power treacherously with murder, but he's a treacherous person. And then if you remind them that you've done good to them, they take that as an insult. I'll give you another example. Sorry to go into history, but these are wise incidents which happen. And a lot of times we think people, we want to create alliances because it's from the good of their heart. Because we are good people and they're going to just be good to us because we have nothing to offer, but they're just going to do things for us. So this was a war between Corfu and Corinth, which is Sparta. And so both of them needed the help of Athens to fight each other. So the first ambassador from Corfu goes to Athens and tells the guy, listen, we have been enemies and we have been extremely terrible to you and we have harmed you, but that was in the past. You and I, we have the two best armies, and if we think about the future, we can become very strong and we'll defeat them and then we'll take their wealth. And you'll be wealthier and we'll be wealthier. The other person, the Corinthian ambassador, came and told the people of Athens, remember all the good that we did? We are the noble people, we've helped you, we've defended you, we've given you this, that, and the other. Then they have a vote. Guess who the people picked? The people picked the people of Corfu because it was based on mutual interest in the future. So past was forgotten. When we think about creating alliances, first and foremost, we must understand the value we bring to the table. And when we talk to people, we must come from a position of strength and offering value. If you don't offer value, you're desperate. Many, many years ago, I think about 15, 20 years ago, I had a friend from India, and he was a very nice kid, but he didn't have a job. And one of my other friends in the classmates, he had risen up very high. So I told him to go to meet this guy for an interview and see if we get him a job. He said I couldn't give him the job because the guy was acting so desperate in the interview, it would look like he was almost like begging. He never had to show what his skills were. So even though he wanted to help, he couldn't look so bad in front of others. So it's very important in life to have self-confidence about yourself, what you're bringing to the table, and what benefit you can do for the other person. As Muslims, we are people of knowledge. We have to do things to strengthen our economies. We have to do things to strengthen our armies. We have to do things to strengthen our communities. We have to do things to strengthen our institutions. We cannot expect people to give just because the good of their heart. It's wonderful if you're living amongst awliya, and they will do it because their desire is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the meantime, when we deal with normal people, we have to deal with common interests. I'll talk about two negative alliances. If you look at the modern alliance, okay, is the Zionist alliance between the Jews and the evangelicals. One is an atheist, and other loves Jesus supposedly so much. But one doesn't even believe in Jesus. Na'udzubillah, right? So somebody, I went to a really nice conference, and they said, nobody has come and told them, do you even know what you guys believe in each other? Like you have an alliance. But what is it? It's about money. It's about land. It's about resources. So they've forgotten what their mutual beliefs are. They are working on mutual interests. You understand that? When we look at the modern alliance between the right-wing Hindus and our most moral place in the world, we all know who they are, it's the same thing. The Muslims are the enemy, so they are our enemy and they are your enemy, so now we are the best friends. In the meantime, they hate so-called idol worshippers, right? So belief system doesn't matter, mutual interest has colluded. Similarly, many of our politicians, when they think about things, some of the people are naive into thinking people are going to just be good because I am good. That's not how the world works, unfortunately. We as Muslims, when we deal with each other, we need to have, of course, we do things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because وَمَا لِيَحْدٍ إِنْدَهُمْ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ تُجْزَى إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ رَبِّهِ وَجْهِ الْعَالَمِ. We don't want a payment from another person. But if you're doing something for our community and we're creating a safety or an economic opportunity or a business opportunity, we must think about how we can benefit the other person on the other side. And we don't have to sell ourselves to get into alliances. One of the worst alliances that happened, which actually caused a huge breakup in the Muslim world, many of you may not know, is the Ottoman Empire's alliance with the Germans. The Germans got dragged into the war, the Ottomans paid for it. The Muslims paid for it. I think the Ottoman Empire was we counted, it was like 55 countries? 55 countries, modern nations, was broken up. You didn't need a visa to go from one to another, right? Because of an alliance which didn't work out. So one should be very, very careful in whom we enter into alliances with. It comes back to the talk about what's your company. If you want to take benefit from somebody, but you also must know what the purpose is. How far do we want to be with this person? Many people come posing as friends. Yeah? Many people come posing as friends, but all they want to do is know about you, so they can use things about you. There's a beautiful Arab saying, I don't know the Arabic of it, but it's nice. Don't be afraid of the intelligent enemy. Worry about the foolish friend, right? Or the treacherous friend, because they know everything about you. So some people come into alliances pretending to be friends, pretending to be well-wishers. They have the right look and the right words, and they say the right things. But judge people, we must judge people by actions. We must be wise in understanding who is playing us for fools. And this cannot happen unless we have a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are guided, their hearts are in the right place. They will see what the eyes can't see. They will hear what the ears can't hear. They will have that intuition which we talk about, and they will know. They know when you're around those people, you know just from the way they look at you, they feel like they're reading you. And some of these people are like that. And so my advice for myself and all of us is when we look to create alliances, first and foremost, create the alliance with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, that alliance is the alliance worth everything, because we are the people who seek Jannah. We must have alliances with the people around us. Because we have to survive and we have to thrive. We don't have to survive, we have to thrive. In order to thrive in society, we must offer benefit to people, right? The reason people in this room are successful and safe is because the police force or the fire department or the post office, we have relationships. People in this community cultivated those alliances, right? So when we pray Jummah prayer, there's a cop standing out there. By the way, I encourage all of you to make a dua for the cops when they're there. They are protecting us while we pray. May Allah protect them. May we be a source of dawah to them. And may we be people who open the doors of Islam through our good akhlaq to them. Not by proselytizing, but by our genuine kindness and honorable behavior. People are known by their actions, not by the way they look. People forget how you look. You can be very good looking, you can be tall, short, this and that, but people remember the kind word. People remember the genuine compliment. When you're crossing, genuinely tell them, thank you very much. Would you like something? Can we get you a drink of water or something? Make them know that we appreciate that. In ending, when we think about alliances, we must think about the power we have first. We are not going to people to beg. Then you're coming from a position of weakness and you're saying, give me. When you're coming from a position of strength, you say, I bring this to you. What do you bring? I'll end with this beautiful example. After the Battle of Badr, I can talk as much as we want.
Today is your turn.
Unfortunately, all of you have to tolerate me. When we take a talk about offering something of value, we remind ourselves in the Battle of Badr, the people who were taken prisoner. What did Rasulullah ﷺ ask for their freedom? Those who know how to read and write, teach them. Knowledge. Right? Today, we don't even know these things. Right? If you go to certain countries, all you see is malls. Like they've taken malls from America. Right? Our tradition is books. Our tradition is libraries. Our tradition is doctors. These are the Muslims were the first doctors. Ibn Sina, Ibn Rushd, like all these people. We were the polyglots, the polymaths. The Muslims were the polymaths, multiple languages, right? They were experts in multiple disciplines, right? Now it's malls. You go there, you can, Ramadan, the mall is open all night. I mean, is that what Ramadan is supposed to be for? All night should be the masjid, right? When we come to this country, listen to people and you will understand what they're looking for. You know, I was talking to somebody and this lady was really having a hard time with her husband's taxes and all this. So I said, we need Sharia law. She's like, what do you mean? He says 2.5% tax. She's like, what do you mean 2.5% tax? It's like, that's what the Muslims have to pay. You're not allowed, right? Every Muslim must pay 2.5%. And with that, you administer everything. Correct? We don't know these rules. We were the first people who gave women's rights. Women's rights are relatively recent in the West. We must know our traditions. We must know what a Muslim government is supposed to function like. We cannot look at the modern, where the generals live in these, crazy houses and it's like a corruption overload central, right? We have to understand who we are and how we can benefit people. There's a lot of people who are really worried about their children's education in the public schools. It's not only us. There's a lot of people. I talk to them. We Muslims have a solution. We understand why men and women are to be separated, because you need to be in a safe environment. We understand, and there are people who are very concerned about those things. We just don't know about it, right? There are people worried about alcohol. There are people worried about drug usage. We have a lot in common with people because they are also worried about their families just like we are. But we haven't communicated that. We haven't come to express that we also empathize with the problem that you have, because we do also have the same problem. Like mental health now is a big thing, right? In our community, it's like, you just give the kid one rap and he'll be fine. At least back in India, Pakistan, it was like that, Here, we are doing work to understand what the stresses are. People are stressed. And if you don't understand the stresses of social media, right? Social media is basically, you have an opening into Iblis to your kids. Basically, that's what it is. Like I always say, if you're outside, you would never let an adult come and talk to your child. You'd be like, who are you? Why are you talking to my child? Right? You probably punch them. Now, you have no idea who is behind a page, who's talking to your child. Following them, sending them likes, this, that. Why should that be? Right? There are people who are actually worried about that. And we have a lot in common with those people. So when we look to create alliances, we must know our values, and we must also know what future benefits we can bring to a people. A people will never be say, okay, we are nice people, have an alliance with us. No, you have to have some kind of value. We are one of the most educated group, right? Within our community, mashallah, we have a very diverse group. It's educated group. It's got a lot of different skill sets. We have to come together first and foremost in elevating ourselves, but also in looking to help those who are around us. There are people who are economically challenged. How can we explain to them to do business in a halal way? How can we have successful relationships? When we offer those services, we can actually offer solutions. Otherwise, we are just asking for help without really offering anything in return. May Allah forgive if there's anything wrong. It's definitely from me. If there was any good, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you for all your patience. If any of you have questions, comments, feel free to share, feel free to ask. I can't guarantee answers, but I'll try.